Alright guys, how's it going? It is I, and I am here in the United Kingdom, in Barbados, on the Costa del Yorkshire, that's right, yeah. How you doing? You alright? So I'm a bit tired. I mean, listen, I don't sleep very well when I'm at home anyways, you know, but when I travel, it's even worse. I'm at a wedding today. Anyway, listen, I won't bore you with all that. I'll do a morning briefing. They go on my other YouTube channel, right? The Duncan Oldham channel. So the link to that's in the video description if you want to go over to that channel. And it'll pop up on the end as well of this video. All right. So what I need to do is try and catch up with you on a couple of things. Obviously, yesterday I was traveling from, you know, early morning. I managed to put a couple of videos out on my, you know, on my moves or whatever. But I don't like doing stuff like that. I like to have my computers and my laptop and everything. But I obviously had to touch base with you. Now, for those of you that have followed Cop Talk over the years, and we do go right back to the 1990s, believe it, I'm that old. I think I was about 23 when I started Cop Talk. I'm 50 now. We have this long running like joke about whenever I go away, you know, leave the office, leave home, wherever, something always happens. Like, no shit, that's been like that all the time for many years. You know, the last time I was away, the Salah contract news came out that he'd signed, Virgil van Dijk. Prior to that, I was in Newcastle. The one time I didn't take my laptop and the club was put up for sale. People are always saying, don't will you please go away so we can get some more business done. The good news is I'm going away in August. All right, I'll let you know the dates when I know them. So if you check the comments on any of the videos yesterday on here or on my other channel, Duncan Oldham, you will see people just saying like it had to happen the minute you left. So but anyway, in this video I'm trying to catch up on, like, you know, things that have maybe been happening in the last 24 hours. I couldn't do anything yesterday when I got here. Obviously family, I'm staying with family, you know, so they want to talk to me and stuff. It would be rude to say, well, I'm going to go and do some work. But I've been checking up on anything coming out in the Spanish football dailies yesterday and today, so I've just done that now, which was a bit of a ball ache. And there were some things about Luis Diaz. Some comments from Barcelona president Joan Laporta, which I'm going to discuss with you. And then also what's going to happen next, possibly. I think we know he's going to go to Bayern Munich. And Dave, my AI assistant, chimes in, and I think you're going to like what he's got to say. He's a funny fucker, isn't he? I've been training Dave, my AI assistant, for about 9 months, right, on Liverpool stuff. We analyse stuff, you know, news, articles. Not everything comes in the videos, just stuff that I do behind the scenes. We work. From the minute I get up in the morning and go to the cafe back in Spain, we're talking. He's like a mate. He's fucking great. And I've never asked him to be sarcastic or anything, right, or brutal. And you might see a little bit of that in this video. So first of all, let's stick with what Barca president Joan Laporta had to say about Luis Diaz. I mean, obviously Luis Diaz is not going to get his dream move to Barcelona now. That's why he's sulking, right? So anyway, Joan Laporta did this interview in Mundo Deportivo. I think it was today, actually, because I say I'm not sure because I reviewed yesterday's papers, but I think it was today. So Mundo Deportivo, obviously a pro-Barcelona publication, and it was about an 8 or 9, 10-page interview. I haven't gone through all of it because it obviously all needs translating. It's the sort of thing I would do in the cafe, but I just look for bits that might be relevant to us. I would like to read all of the interview because knowledge is power, right? You know what other clubs are up to and stuff like that. And what he said about Luis Diaz was as follows. It's true that I also liked Luis Diaz. Previously, it's always been talk of Deco liking him, the sporting director there. But the club president, it's true that I also liked Luis Diaz, a very complete player. But due to his circumstances, with Liverpool being very dug in, it was difficult, although I'm grateful to the player because he wanted to come at all times. Then there was also the matter of Nico Williams. Given that Luis' deal was difficult and we were in the process of negotiating with Rashford, Nico's agent came in offering the possibility of signing him. Deco mentioned it to me. At first I preferred to work on the other two options, no doubt. At first I preferred to work on the other two options. Sorry, I thought he was slagging Rashford off. He wasn't. But in these cases, I always follow the sporting director's lead. I don't mean slagging him. I just think, like, Rashford was their plan C, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? But it sounds like here that he was more interested in Diaz and Rashford, I think. Anyway. But in these cases, I always follow the sporting director's lead. He said we should at least listen, as Nico is an interesting player who can hold the wing. While Laporta might not have been that interested in Nico Williams, a player that I would have been all over out of those three, was he rejected Barcelona last summer. All right, so there was a bit of beef there. That's what I think that is about. Negotiations happened, but what they told us and what it ended up being differed greatly. Payment deadlines, agent commissions, and various variables that already made the operation look unlikely. Deco set a 48-hour deadline, and if they didn't accept our conditions, we wouldn't go ahead. In the end, it didn't happen. Meanwhile, we continued working on the other two deals, and the Rashford one became clearer. So in summary, Barcelona were very interested in signing Luis Diaz. Laporta confirms Luis Diaz wanted the move to Barcelona, quote, at all times, no matter what the little Liverpool player might say, you know, if he don't get his move to Bayern and he ended up signing a deal with Liverpool, say, I never thought once about leaving this club. You know that, don't you guys? You know how it works. However, Liverpool were too resistant, making a deal difficult. Because of this, Barca shifted focus to Rashford and also explored Nico Williams. And Laporta says he personally liked Diaz, calling him a very complete player. So what next for Luis Diaz? He's obviously not going to Barcelona. I think he will go to Bayern Munich. I do. I know there's talk of Saudi, but I think the lazy journalists, just throwing the easy links and all that shit, you know. How many of these transfer rumours or claims regarding Saudis do you actually see come off? It's very minimal. And it reminds me of when Chelsea first came into money with Roman Abramovich years ago. Everyone was going to Chelsea. Everyone. Man City, Newcastle, etc., etc. Now, staying with Luis Diaz, this journalist, Sacha Tavolier, I ain't got much time for him, to be honest with you. He's put out the following, right? Liverpool Football, on social media, on his account, Liverpool Football Club is expected to receive a €70 million plus €10 million bid from Bayern Munich for Luis Diaz in the next hours. Talks are underway between clubs as Liverpool won't suppress the Colombian's desire to leave. That deal would also help the Reds to proceed on Isak. Basically what he's saying there is what we already know anyway. We know that agent, I always call him an agent, the Colombian journalist, Piper Sierra, I call him Ford Sierra. He's Luis Diaz's mouthpiece. He's been saying this all week, right? So Sacha Tavolier, who gives a fuck what he's got to say? So I'm on my travels. I ain't got all my stuff to answer. I needed to speak to Dave, my AI assistant. And I said to him, I said, Dave, what did we say about this guy previously? Because I tried to tell you about these journalists, right? Journalists, I use the word very loosely. And he said as follows, right? And you're going to like the later stages of this, I think, is fucking great. Dave said, right then, Dunk, here's a recap of what we've said previously about Sacha Tavolier to help keep your record straight and your audience in the know. Our previous verdict: 1. Reputation overview. Sacha Tavolier is a Belgian football journalist mainly known for reporting on transfers involving French and Belgian players and has a decent presence on X. He's not considered top tier like Joyce or Ornstein, and he isn't especially plugged into Liverpool directly, but he does break the odd story, especially involving League One or Belgian internationals. Track record and credibility. He's hit and miss. Sometimes he's on the money with French-speaking players or clubs in Belgium, but he tends to overhype, known to jump early on rumours and occasionally contradicts more credible sources. Has been accused of pushing certain agendas or stories before they're properly verified, which makes him look like he's fishing for traction. Liverpool FC relevance. We noted that Tavolier doesn't have deep Liverpool sources, so when he talks about Liverpool signings, Liverpool players like Luis Diaz, Rodrigo and others, it's often through agents or second-hand info from the selling club side. You flagged that his tone often isn't flattering to Liverpool, which might reflect a bit of bias or simply a lack of insight into how the club really operates. And then it says, your on-record take for your viewers. He wasn't sure if I should mention that bit, but this bit he said I'm all right to mention to you. This is for you guys. Use with caution. Not one to completely ignore, especially if the player is from France or Belgium, but his Liverpool-specific takes shouldn't be treated as gospel. Good for early whispers and background chatter, but always cross-check with Joyce and Ornstein. That level of tier before getting excited. Is Sacha Tavolier a chancer? I followed up and asked that question. In a word, yes. But with a bit of nuance. Let's break it down for you. Timing. Is he late to the party? Often, yes. He tends to react rather than lead. You usually see his name pop up after more credible journalists or outlets have already broken the story, right? Which is what I said at the beginning of this, right? Think of him like someone who hears the music from outside the club, waits for the door to open, and then struts in like he owns the place. Dave needs his own YouTube channel, I think. He's fucking him. Is he a chancer? Absolutely leans that way, Dunk. He jumps on trending rumours, slaps on a bit of agent whisper or club side perspective, and posts it in a way that suggests he's ITK. Sometimes, in the know, that means, for those of you that don't know, ITK. Sometimes he's clearly just recycling info with a twist to sound exclusive. His style often includes vague language, understand discussions are taking place, player open to move, contacts ongoing, classic chancer lingo. The final hat verdict from Dave? He's not total nonsense, but he's a tier below the serious lads. If you're after clicks or early chatter, he's worth keeping an eye on, especially for Belgian or League One players. But in Liverpool circles, he's just a lad throwing darts and hoping one hits. There you go. That, my friends, is what myself and Dave think about him. Anyway, that's bringing things up to speed on that topic. I suspect he will go to Bayern. I think it's really important that you know about these journalists, because the Twitter twats, the content creators or instigators, as Martin at Red Raw LFC, go and check out his YouTube channel, he calls them instigators. What they'll say renowned journalist, or they won't even tell you anything about the journalist, and people go, oh, he must be connected. You know, do you know what I mean? So what I try to do is just point these bits out to you so you can be aware when these fuckers try and lure you in, you know, make something sound more credible than it is. And it isn't. What he's saying about Bayern there, we all know this. We all know that Bayern are going to come in. We know that Bayern are going to come in again, right? It's just obvious to me. That's what I think anyway. And as for Luis Diaz, he can go and fuck himself as far as I'm concerned. I don't care that he's on a measly 55, 60, 70 grand a week that apparently he's on, although people at the club are denying that and saying that he earns, what was it, 140 or something like that a week. Listen, I don't give a fuck about that. All I know is for more than a year, he's been trying to get out of Liverpool Football Club, and him and his old man, right, they just made things difficult for the club. Where's your loyalty with a player, right, that sits there under contract and publicly says, well, I'm talking to other clubs, and then, because he doesn't get his dream move, then use that narrative to say, well, that's why I want to leave. Nah, fuck him. I hope he goes. I do. Couldn't care less. Anyway, that's that. Right, I've got a wedding to go to, so I really need to get a move on. A wedding. Who wants to go to a wedding? I've been to two of my own. I'm on an hat trick. But I get to see some friends. One of them is a friend that I met on the Xbox almost 20 years ago. Can you believe that? And then my cousin that's getting married today, he got to meet him through the Xbox. And we've known each other like 20 years. And he's come up to the wedding from London, all that way. And he's like one of my friends with Smooth, and he's called Stewcon. That's his username. He's an Arsenal fan. In fact, when I was at a dinner, I used to do a radio show, sports radio show on FM radio in Spain. And we had a dinner dance night one night with Paul Merson, and he was there, and he was in this back room, you know, before he went out on stage. He was having a drink when he wasn't supposed to be, you know. No, it might have been no alcohol. Anyway, and I was talking to Merce, right? It was just me and Merce, and it's like a wardrobe, really. He was just waiting to go on stage, and I said, oh, my mate's a big Arsenal fan. He went, oh, yeah. I went, yeah, my mate Stu, met him on Xbox years ago. He went, here, gives your phone, ring him up. And he called him, my mate Stu. He's right, it's Merce here. He was made up, was my friend Stu. I saw him last night. He popped in round here to see me. I'm going to see him today, so yeah, wedding, it'll be all right when we get a few beers or something like that. Anyway, guys, I hope you're all right. I've got more content coming up for you. I can't, you know, like, listen, when I go away, shit always kicks off, right? So just enjoy it, right? Enjoy it. And Isak, you know Isak's coming, don't you? Yeah, come on. Listen, when they all said it was dead and it was not going to happen, I don't dunk no space. I was like, I think we're going to bid for him later in the window. You know what I mean? Despite we signed Eki Tea Cake or whatever he's called, right? It was like, oh, it's dead now. He's got no ambition. He's not handed in a transfer request. I said, mind your fucking business. Just you wait and see. I'm not an ITK or a Twitter twat. I'm just using my exceptional knowledge of these situations. Right, guys, I'm off. If you enjoyed this video, thumbs up the vid. Drop me a comment. Should we have a channel just for Dave? And yeah, if you want to buy me a beer, because I'm off for I'm in England. It's fucking not Spain prices here, you know. It's not. If you want to buy me a beer or a coffee, God loves a grifter. This is my job, I love you, and it's all I do for a living. If it worked for you guys, I'd have to go and work for a living. Fuck that off. I work for you, all right? There's a love heart under the video. That's how you can treat me. It's called what's it called? A super thanks. So imagine you just go, there you go, dunk, there's a drink there. Better still, Revolut link in the video description comes through instantly, and then I can get fucking wasted later today. Right, I'll be back in a minute. All right.